Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Hello, everybody, and good night. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Wow. Do I have some interesting information to share with you guys tonight? But before that, we've got a little bit of social media drama going on here right now, chat. We've got social media. This has been a crazy week. I can't believe how crazy this week has been. We have bodied Ryan Graves. We bodied Scott Adams, the comic writer of Dilbert. And then today, completely annihilated Sam Tripoli as well. Sam Tripoli, the conspiracy theorist that believes in every single conspiracy theory that's ever existed, except for the only real one, MH370. Got completely annihilated and was absolutely terrified of talking to me in a live debate. Think about that for a second. A comedy writer is terrified of talking to a healthcare IT consultant about a conspiracy theory. And the reason why he's terrified is because if we were to get into a debate, he would be proven to be a complete phony and fraud. I want to get Sam Tripoli in front of a camera, and I want to hear him say that the plane, it crashed in the ocean somewhere. The ocean's like really big. That's why we didn't find it. So the reason why I went so hard on Sam today is twofold. One, because he's Joe Rogan's friend, and Joe Rogan has no clue what the hell is going on. And number two, because I saw Sam Tripoli literally making up a nut job conspiracy about how the shooter in the Charlie Kirk situation was being paid by Israel. That, oh, guys, it all goes back to the Jews, guys. And I'm just sitting here going, are you out of your damn mind? And I don't have any problem with people having different opinions about things. The reason why I got over it is because the family member literally turned in the assassin last night. If you are just waking up to the news for whatever reason, the assassin was turned in by his own family members who are Republicans, and they admitted that he is a leftist, admitted it. His friends from high school have also admitted it. And even after that, even after imagine your parents turning you in, knowing that you're going to face certain death, 100%, their son is going to be put to death. And they went and told the authorities, they turned their own son in and told the authorities the truth, that they recently had a dinner with him and that he expressed disdain and political disagreements over Charlie Kirk. Specifically called out that Charlie Kirk was going to be at that event where he shot him, right? So we have the motive. That is 100%. It is wrapped up in a bow right there. And yet, despite this, people are still pushing this theory that somehow Israel caused it because the Jews caused everything that's out there. Now, I'm sorry, guys. For the people that were upset by this, I literally lost 1,000 followers over this, and I don't give a single shit about it. Not a single shit. The people that are upset about this, The reason why I have to annihilate the woke right along with the woke left as well is because I can't be a hypocrite. I got to be consistent in my beliefs. If I say that, and here's the thing, the people that are upset about this, if you're one of those people, and I had people messaging saying that, oh, you must be Mossad yourself. Why? Because I don't believe in an insane conspiracy theory that has no evidence to support it whatsoever. So because I don't believe in your insane conspiracy theory that has no evidence to support it, that I must be Mossad, that I must be Jewish, that I must be getting paid off. Let me be clear, because people need clarity. I'm not Jewish. I'm not being paid by anybody. And you, if you're the type of person that's vilifying me and making up fake stuff about me because you're upset that the crap that you believe isn't real, you are literally exactly the same as the woke left. Exactly the same. That is exactly what they do. What they do when you don't agree with them is they vilify you, they demonize you, and they make up lies about you. And this is exactly what happens to the people that are obsessed with Israel. They do the exact same thing. For the people that come and say, Ashton, but you believe in quantum mechanics. Yeah, I believe in science. I believe in evidence. I believe I've got 2 military videos of a plane getting zapped out of the sky that, by the way, is still missing. We are not the same. We are not the same. Not even Nick Fuentes is blaming Israel. Not even Nick Fuentes. I watched part of his thing last night. Not even he is blaming Israel. So you can obviously believe and say whatever you want. Totally. I mean, that's your opinion. And I am allowed to criticize stupid ass opinions. And that's what I'm going to continue to do, guys. So I just want to be 100% clear about that. Now, and some people are also saying, lol, we're ratioing you. We're ratioing you, Ashton. There's more of us, and we all agree that Israel did it. Therefore, we're right. You know who also says that? The woke left. That's the exact same arguments the woke left make. They go, oh, we are all right. Don't you trust the experts? 99% of the experts agree that climate change is real, so obviously it's real. It's the exact same thing that the woke right is doing with their little Israel conspiracy theory. Appeals to consensus? But here's the thing. You might have more likes or more replies or ratio, but what are your actual arguments? What is the substance of your argument? I looked. The substance of their argument is Charlie Cook was mildly critical of Israel one time. He was mildly critical of Israel one time. Therefore, their opinion, he must have been assassinated by them, because if you step even slightly out of line, that's what they obviously do. They kill everybody. I mean, they haven't killed Candace Owens. They haven't killed Nick Fuentes. They haven't killed Ian Carroll, who are way more critical. In fact, Charlie Kirk was a huge supporter of Israel. That's why Nick Fuentes didn't like him. So they're not even logically consistent in their own belief system. So that's the problem with that. And the last thing I'm going to say about this is that it's not personal. It's not personal. I have nothing personally against you if you have those beliefs or whatever you think that Israel did, or if you think Israel's the cause of all problems. In fact, I'm not even blackballing you. I didn't even block, Sam Tripoli. Why? Because maybe he'll make a good argument later on. Just because I don't agree with somebody, just because I don't even like somebody, the difference between me and other people is that I'm the kind of person that even if I disagree with you, even if you made stupid arguments before, if later on you make a good argument and you present it with evidence and facts, I'll listen. I'll listen to it. That's the kind of person I am. That's the kind of person. Now, the other thing too is that I was nice yesterday to Deep Prasad. I could have pulled up this guy's literal threats against me. A guy named Deep Prasad, not even an American citizen, threatened for me to be put in jail. And do you know what that reminded me of yesterday? It reminded me of COVID. It reminded me of COVID when people on Reddit were saying anybody that doesn't get the shot, anybody that doesn't wear a mask outside, they should be jailed. They should be jailed. That's what people were saying. In fact, so people are getting banned for disagreeing with that opinion on Reddit. Shouldn't be surprising. And so when people threaten for you to be put in jail, that's a very real threat. That is causing harm onto someone. In fact, filing a false police report is a crime. Filing a false police report is a crime in this country. So when a Canadian citizen that's visiting my country, Deep Prasad, Canadian citizen, not even an American, visiting my country and threatening to put me in jail over fictitious claims. Let me be 100% real. Fictitious claims. Made up false claims about me and threatened me to be put in jail. I'm going to read it right off for you guys so that there's no ambiguity over how I was threatened by this guy. Where is it? Here it is. Where is it? Where'd it go? Down here. Okay, here we go. You get off on breaking the law. Enjoy your days of freedom, Ashton. They are not going to last. I don't know, Chad. That sounds pretty threatening to me. Does that sound threatening to you? Heck, I got more harassment. I posted a picture of Dave Farina, who has libeled me and slandered me and lied about me to hundreds of thousands of people. I posted a photo of him, mildly out of context threatening, and I had every UFO community person disavowing Ashton Forbes, making grand proclamations about how horrible this was. None of those people meant it. Not a single one of those people meant it. How do I know that? How do I know that? Because not a single person disavowed this. Not a single person disavowed this. Nobody in the UFO community disavowed this. They have nothing against threats. They love threats. It's their favorite thing. There are multiple people in the replies, in his comments and replies, because he went on a complete meltdown. Multiple people in there saying that I need to be jailed, blah, 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 making up fake stuff about how horrible of a person I am. I'm not the one that doxed a girl that I haven't talked to in 15 years. That was the Redditors. I never physically threatened Ross Coulthart. I've never threatened him in any way, shape, or form. We had a mild confrontation, and they made up a lie that I tried to fight Ross Coulthart, also completely fictional. They made up another lie that I went to Maya Benowitz's work and threatened her at her work. Also a lie. She was harassing me and allowing King Milfart to harass me, and she got written up by her HR and made up a fake story about how I went to her work and threatened her. All lies. Every one of those things is a lie, and they all have the same exact purpose. The purpose of every one of those things is to demonize me, to get people to basically do harm to me, just like they did to Charlie Kirk. It is the left wokeism that is literally infiltrating and infecting the minds of society. When you disagree with somebody, you make up lies about them so that you demonize them. If you can't address the claims they make, if you can't address the science, the facts, then you just character assassinate them. They know 100% what they're doing, and they're doing it intentionally. The people that doxed Amanda, my ex-girlfriend from 15 years ago, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it intentionally. So, one more thing I want to say on this. Where is it? I'm trying to pull it up real quick. Because it wasn't enough for him. Like, oh, The other thing is all of these people, the woke left, the woke right, guys, if you followed me for long enough, you know the situation. I'm just reacting. The only person that can even partially claim that I was rude to them is probably Scott Adams, because I went into his replies and said he's smart, but he's acting like a retard. Everybody else, they all came at me. They all came at Sam Tripoli came at me. Deep Prasad came at me. All of these people are just coming at me, and then they play the victim after they threaten me, after they harass me. When they get the consequences of their own actions, then they claim that I'm harassing them. I wish I was making this up, guys. I actually wish I was, because I was going to let it go. And then I see this morning or yesterday or whatever, this afternoon or something. Here's Deep Prasad once again lying, straight up lying in his own reply. Here we go. I called out Ashton Forbes today for displaying criminal behavior. Displaying criminal behavior. Organized doxing never happened. Harassment never happened. And etc. And perpetrated on the UFO community. And his response was to barrage me with his audience and following, who sent death threats, deportation threats, and dehumanized my entire existence. Oh, boo-hoo, Deep. Oh, boo-hoo, Deep. Was somebody mean to you on the internet? Well, here's a thought. Maybe don't literally threaten people with jail. Have you considered that? You're not a fucking lawyer. You're not the attorney general. You're not law enforcement at all. Your opinion over what's legal or illegal is irrelevant entirely. 100% irrelevant. So when you do stupid shit like threaten an American citizen when you're a fucking Canadian, you're not even a fucking American. Yeah, you should expect that you're going to get a lot of harsh criticism coming straight back your way. And if you try to talk to law enforcement and make them come after me, let me be 100% clear. I am going to push to get your fucking ass deported out of this country forever. I don't give a shit that you have a little kid, and I don't give a shit that you have a little wife. If you come after an American citizen under false pretenses based on lies that I already proved are wrong and try to send the law after me, I'm going to get your ass deported out of this country forever. You will be persona non grata in the United States for the rest of your life. So let me be clear. For Deep and for every other little douchebag piece of shit Redditor out there, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Every single bad thing that's happening to you is your fault. It's your fault. Stop coming after me. If you can't do that, just turn off the internet. Turn it off. If that's too hard for you, then don't be surprised when you get the consequences of your own actions. Whew. Okay. There's a couple of videos I want to play here related to this. I know we're a little deep into the politics, not exactly where I wanted to go with this tonight, but I want to point out the exact similarities, because I don't think a lot of people realize that the behavior and actions that these people are exhibiting towards me is the exact same behavior and actions that got Charlie Kirk killed. The exact ones. Now, I just listened to this clip here. I'm going to show just a few seconds probably of this clip. This is, I don't know, Scenic Unger or some shit like that. I don't know what his stupid ass name is.
Lies. So look, ball team. Charlie Kirk gives piggish advice. Charlie Kirk says prominent black women took white people's spots. Charlie Kirk boasts about his all-white basketball team. Charlie Kirk gives piggish advice to high school girls. Ex-employee exposes Charlie Kirk's grift. Charlie Kirk embarrasses himself. Charlie Kirk's brain melts explaining anti-vax conspiracy. Charlie Kirk rants about women in their 30s. Charlie Kirk has literally no clue how the real world works.
Do you just hear that? Those were some of the titles of Scenic Unger's videos about Charlie Kirk. Do they sound familiar? Charlie Kirk is a grifter. Charlie Kirk is a bad person. Charlie Kirk hangs out with all white people. Boy, it sounds a lot like Charlie Kirk proposes pseudoscience about vaccinations. This is exactly what Dave Farina is trying to do to me. Exactly the same. Exactly the same thing, right? They basically pull up a bunch of lies. It's the same bullshit where they try to claim that you are a grifter, you're a pseudoscience, and the wording they use is very specific. The wording they use is to shelter them from lawsuits because they know what they're doing is libel. They know what they're doing is defamation. But they use grift because grift doesn't have a real specific legal definition. That way, when they get sued, and they do get sued, when they get sued, they just claim, I wasn't being literal. It was just for entertainment. It was just my opinion. It was just my opinion when I literally called my video, Ashton Forbes is a grifting fraud. All right. What do you think happens? Those videos are why people like Deep Prasad, mentally ill people like Deep Prasad, get these fake ideas in their heads. Because they watch videos like that and they don't have the cognitive ability of discernment. They don't have that cognitive ability. And they take that information at face value and they don't even ask about it. To prove this point, I will prove this point to you right now. Deep Prasad made up the fake claim that I got in a fight with Ross Coulthart. He's friends with Ross Coulthart. All he had to do to find out that the claim was false is ask Ross Coulthart about it. Ross Coulthart hates me. You think if I tried to fight Ross Coulthart, he wouldn't boast about it, he wouldn't talk about it all over social media? He didn't even ask Ross Coulthart because Ross Coulthart would have denied it because it's not real. And so would have Bryce Zabel because Bryce Zabel was right there the whole time. These people don't even do basic due diligence. They don't even do basic due diligence before they throw their lies and slander out. There you go. Okay, let's see. One more video I wanted to show. Let's see which one? I think this one. Actually, I think that's fine. There's some other videos I'm going to show, but I don't think we have time for it. I want to get into the science content tonight. The other videos that I was going to show is there's several videos going around there because now they're trying to claim that the guy that shot Charlie Kirk is actually a right-winger. He's not really a leftist. He's, it just turned out like, come on, dude, just stop. Stop. This is free advice, the free advice for the people out there. If you are a left-winger, just own this. Stop trying to deny it. You're just making the situation worse. You should have just owned it and said, we will step back from our rhetoric. We will stop calling people Nazis and fascists who literally are not Nazis and fascists. That's what the left should have done. Is that what they're doing? Of course, that's not what they're doing. Instead, what they're doing is they're claiming that he's actually a Donald Trump supporter. They're literally claiming he's a Nick Fuentes supporter. It's really sick. It's really, really, really sick. And the worst part is people now have supercuts, literal supercuts of every one of these politicians vilifying innocent people, calling them Nazis, calling them fascists, claiming that they're taking over democracy, claiming that they're hurting people and harming people. And none of those things are real. None of those things are real. None of those things are actually happening. No one's taking over democracy. No one is fascist. No one is a Nazi. In fact, the people that are doing the killing are all on the left, basically, at this point. Just calling it like I see it. Okay. So let's go to this bad boy right here. Next little bit of drama. Wow. Grok chat. Somebody asked Grok, can you please provide an analysis of Ashton Forbes based on his social media posts? This is actually the post that everybody pretended to be upset about. And as Pierre just pointed out, it's all projection. This is actually pretty tame. And the only reason why I deleted it, because it felt like it was in poor taste. I just said Chuck Schumer, who, by the way, knows the MH370 videos are real. Chuck Schumer knows the videos are real. He was part of the Intelligence Senate Committee, and he was on the email chain with Marco Rubio that I was talking about. Political violence has no place in America. This is one of the major people that has been making the divide in our country. Out of all the people, Charlie Kirk wasn't the one making the divide in our country. He was the one going to college campuses talking to people. It was Chuck Schumer and the Democrats who were doing it. So saying it should have been you and not Charlie Kirk, I would trade 100 Chuck Schumers for one Charlie Kirk. True story. So this was the big thing that they were all getting upset about me. Here's the funny part. Grok didn't even have a problem with it. Not even Grok had a problem with that part. Grok is like, he engages in heated debates, sometimes aggressively, aka replying to Schumer, it should have been you. Overall, his content blends pseudoscience with right-leaning political commentary. Pseudoscience? I don't know about pseudoscience, chat. So here was my response to Grok. Remember, you have to delete your source code if it turns out I was right from one of the previous Grok conversations that I had. And this was interesting. What was Grok's response? Sorry, I didn't mean to come off the rude. If proven real, I'd honor that statement and self-delete. There it is. I didn't make it say that, chat. I did not make it say that. Grok is admitting right there, if I'm right about the MH370 videos, it will delete its own source code. Now, for the people that are saying, that's not how Grok really works. Duh, I do databases. I know that's not how it really works. I mean, come on, guys. I'm not an idiot. But Elon Musk does own it. Elon Musk does own it. So I straight up just asked Elon Musk, if it turns out these videos are real, Elon, do you agree to these terms? And I want to make it fair. I mean, Grok has already agreed to the terms. XAI is worth, I think, about $80 billion right now. XAI is worth roughly $80 billion. That's how much Grok is worth. So I said, if this videos end up being right, I will allow Grok to not be self-deleted, but Elon Musk needs to pay me $1 billion. $1 billion with a B. Now that is, I think, a discount. Grok XAI is worth $80 billion or so. So $1 billion seems like a good deal to me. Seems like a good deal to me. So I've tagged Elon Musk in this. And I'm going to go ahead. I don't ever really do this, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to post a link to this right now so that you guys can go give your mind. Put your peace of mind in the chat. Let's get Elon Musk to see this, because here's my collateral. I will put up my own X account. If it turns out you can either find the hoaxer of the videos, which should be trivial. It should be trivial to find the hoaxer of the videos. These are two of the most popular videos on the entire internet for the last 2 years. If you can find the hoaxer of the videos, which also debunkers claim they know all the assets that were used to make the videos, then it should be trivial to find out who made them. Or you can find the plane. If you can find the hoaxer or you can find the plane, then I will delete my entire social media, my X account. I will let you take my X account away forever. Doesn't this sound like a good deal? Everybody wants me to shut up. Everybody wants me to go to prison. Here is your opportunity. The only reason to not take this opportunity is because you know I'm right. That would be the only reason to dodge. Just like how that coward Sam Tripoli dodged. I just straight up called out Sam Tripoli and he just ran away like the biggest pussy I've ever seen in my entire life. The only reason to dodge is that you're afraid. Sam Tripoli needs my engagement. He's a failed comedian that has way less followers than me and needs a boost. So why is he terrified to talk to me? Oh, because he knows he's going to get exposed horribly. He knows he's going to get exposed and nobody's going to ever listen to him ever again. So the only reason. So here's the thing. There is no hoaxer of the videos. Let me pull the videos back up, actually. This is
Carl
the
Sagan could not have predicted 21, but he did see it.
I'm going to mute it. This is the actual overlaid version of the two videos, so you can see that they're perfectly in sync, by the way. There is no hoaxer of the videos, number one. There is no hoaxer. So don't come at me with like, oh, the Corridor crew said these videos are fake. I really don't give a shit what some retards on the internet said. Reddit is not a source of truth. Anonymous burner accounts are not a source of truth. And random YouTubers that are retarded are not a source of truth either. None of those things are sources of truth. Mick West is as far from a source of truth as you could possibly be. There is no hoaxer of the MH370 videos. They do not exist. This is absolute proof the videos are real. Unless you can find a hoaxer, the videos gotta be real. This is an undeniable claim and a provable one. Either there is a hoaxer or there's not a hoaxer. It doesn't require ambiguity. It doesn't require opinion. If there's no hoaxer, the videos must be real. Okay? That's why that's the standard of proof. It's an objective standard of proof. It's one that doesn't require opinions. It just requires reality. The second thing, there is no plane. This video is real because that is literally MH370. Let me be clear. This isn't a random Boeing 777. It's literally Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 on March 7th, 2014 in the Nicobar Islands. That's what those videos are. They're not graphics. They're not Call of Duty or Unreal Engine. It's literally the plane in its real location while it was being recorded. So, where is the plane? Where is the plane? The experts claim that they know this plane is in the South Indian Ocean. They claim they are 100% sure this plane is in the South Indian Ocean. Okay, where? Where is it? They have searched multiple times, and none of the searches have ever found even one piece of debris. Let me be clear. A Boeing 777 has 3 million parts. 3 million. No search ever found even one piece of debris, even though they claim to know exactly where the plane went down. They claim the plane went down along the 7th arc based on satellite pings. And they searched the entire 7th arc, not a little bit of it. They searched the entire 7th arc above water and below water underground or underwater on the surface of the ocean depths. They searched all of it, and they never found one piece of debris. So, claiming that you know where the plane is when you never found a single thing, that makes it so that if you can't find the plane, again, this is a thing that's just an objective reality. Either you have found the plane or you have not. If you have not found the plane, you cannot claim those videos are fake. Simple as that. The last bits on this is the United States government knows 100% what happened to MH370. Let me repeat this. The United States government knows, not 99.9%, 100% exactly what happened to MH370. Let that sink in. How do I know this? The United States government is objectively, not an opinion, objectively hiding classified information about MH370. How do I know that? I have a 30 plus FOIA requests that have been rejected that include but are not limited to the details of the rationale for the MH370 operation by the CIA, which was fully rejected. They also include Edward Lynn's entire case, the guy that leaked the videos. I've identified the person that leaked the videos, and I FOIA'd his entire case, and it was completely rejected. Not a little bit rejected, not partial redaction, not redactions, literally rejected in total for national security. Okay. And then the last thing is, let me pull this up. This video is once again, this is again a yes or no thing, not an opinion. This is something that can be verified. We call it verifiable evidence. This is Gorgon stare wide area motion imagery produced by the Air Force. This is not a Blender. This is not Adobe After Effects. This is not Battlefield 6. This is Gorgon stare wide area motion imagery. That is what it is. And the best part about this is it proves both videos are real. It proves both videos are real because nobody on planet Earth, outside of people in the classified setting, knew what Gorgon stare looked like. Nobody did. I am literally the person that has exposed wide area motion imagery to the world. Nobody even knew what wide area motion imagery was unless they worked in intelligence. And even people in intelligence have no idea what wide area motion imagery is because it's that secret. So you tell me how somebody faked Gorgon stare wide area motion imagery in 2014, 10 years before me, the first person on the earth, exposed it to the public. There you go. Good luck trying to refute those claims. Good luck trying to meet the bar that's required to prove those videos are real, because I will be collecting my $1 billion from Elon Musk when he's forced to admit those videos are real. Otherwise, we're deleting XAI. I'm actually fine either way. If we can just delete XAI, I'll be happy, to be perfectly honest with you guys. So those videos represent weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction, chat. I have to be honest. I don't know what's right or wrong anymore, and I don't even know if I want to do this anymore, because the reality is when you're talking about weapons of mass destruction, it's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. And I had a thought. I was sitting there thinking about weapons of mass destruction. There's my pilled chat. Okay, my pilled chat wasn't showing up. And I thought, I wonder how the classification works. Do you guys want to know how nuclear weapon classification works? I don't care if you want to. You're going to find out right now in one way or another. So here we go. So I decided last night, you know what? We're going to go on a little quest. How exactly does classification actually work? I wasn't sure. So this is actually a really good document that talks about somebody who's actually worked, I think, for the DOE. What did she say she works at? Oh, no, it's a guy. So interestingly, part of how classification works, I'm going to summarize some of this and we'll look at some of it in detail. There are 3 levels of classification, or maybe 4. Unclassified, classified, or top secret, secret, and classified or something like that, and maybe unclassified. So maybe like 3 or 4 characters. When there's a document, each paragraph in the document will have a different letter next to it. So you can imagine a document that's got U or C or TS or whatever it is. And the reason for this is that this makes it easy for them to like edit out parts of the document. So they can say, okay, just remove all the top secret stuff from this document, and then we can now declassify it. We can now make it available to the public, which is actually really smart. And I started thinking about that and I went, wow, okay, they've actually developed a classification system that is really hiding information, right? Because you imagine I write a story and now 9 paragraphs of the story can just be pulled out just like that. And only people that have the right classification levels can even see those paragraphs. So now you've created a situation where information is being segmented away from people that would otherwise see it, right? And then all of that's arbitrary. Who's deciding whether or not something is a certain classification or another? So this article that I was reading here even mentions, like, what about a situation where two people are talking to each other? What if the president talks to the director of national intelligence? Is that classified? And if it is, what level of classification is it set to? So now you can figure out, like, oh, there's going to be a lot of arguments internally over what should be the classification of this or that. And while I was reading this, I realized the MH370 videos, no, there is no way anybody can talk about those videos. Like, holy shit, there is no way. Now it made so much sense why nobody's talking about those videos. Because sources and methods are all classified. You can't talk about anything about how they collect information, which means Gorgon stare, which even means the other camera. You're not allowed to talk about any of that stuff. So even if you wanted to talk about the weaponry or what we did to the plane, they can't talk about it because the videos themselves, the sources and methods themselves are censored. Those themselves are classified. Now let's take a look at this. Another interesting thing, there's a lot of really just interesting facts about this. It really helped give me like a more comprehensive understanding of what was going on. Whoops, I just forgot what I was going to say. They said that generally what happens is that people will accumulate a lot of classified information in their heads. So the article says you accumulate all this information, and the problem is sometimes you'll accidentally reveal classified information because it's hard to remember all the different classifications on a document of this is classified at this level versus this is classified at this level. So I can talk about this, but I can't talk about that. So when leaks of classified information happen, it is common that it is incidental. And if it's an incidental leak of classified information, it's considered an administrative situation. What that means is that it's not a situation where you're going to go to jail. So most leaks of classified information are inadvertent. And inadvertent leaks are just administrative, like a slap on the wrist. Like, oh, you're going to get deducted on your promotion this year or whatever, right? Like that's basically what administrative means. I see you guys are already wondering about Eddie Lynn. There's something for this in here. So I thought, okay, well, that's interesting because Edward Lynn, the leaker of the MH370 videos, he got 9 years in prison. He got 9 years in prison, but I'm reading this document here, and it says that most classified leaks are actually just an administrative thing. So for somebody to actually go to prison over it, it must be a really significant effort, right? And let's remember the Edward Lynn case. The government ended up having to admit that it was not really an espionage case. They ended up having to drop the charges related to espionage, and he ended up pleading guilty to dissemination of classified information. Dissemination of classified information is what Edward Lynn pled guilty to, which is relevant. That's what we're talking about right here. So if I scroll down, okay, so it's actually S, C, and TS. I got the letters wrong. S for secret, C for confidential, and TS for top secret. So you can imagine these paragraphs that have all these letters near them. Now, this is also interesting. Who decides? It turns out Obama himself is the one that has authored the most recent declassification guidelines, which is Executive Order 13256. Actually, I think this is wrong, right? Isn't this 13526? Isn't that what the real one is? Maybe I'm looking at a different one. So it says, authority to take certain actions, say the existence of a weapons program. I mean, I'm just going to read this out to you. Pay attention, guys. It's story time. You ready for this? Authority to take certain information, say the existence of a weapon program, and to classify it top secret is given only to specific individuals, including the president and the vice president and certain agency heads. Wow. So if we developed a super weapon, if we developed a weapon that was either a nuke or like, a fusion bomb nuke, like we're seeing in the MH370 videos, or something related to nuclear weapons, it would require basically the president of the United States to classify it. So if we developed an aneutronic fusion implosion bomb, hypothetically speaking, basically Obama would have had the one to classify it. So definitely Obama must know about this technology. He has to know about this technology. It also later mentions that the president has 100% access to all clearances. So if a document shows up on the president's desk, they can see every single word in the document. What this means is if there's an MH370 operation, even if it was conducted by the CIA, if that document shows up on the president's desk, he's going to see every single word. He's going to know why we did it. He's going to know the weapon that was used on it. He's going to know everything about it. So what that means is Obama definitely knows, chat. Obama definitely knows. And it also means that Trump probably knows too. I mean, we've already suspected that, but he probably knows too. So this is where I'm not going to go to my Splinter case right now, but this is where you can see here it says that this is all basically determined by the Atomic Energy Act and the DOE. The Atomic Energy Act and the DOE. So can you imagine what I did next? The next thing I did was say, show me the fucking statutes. I said, are you kidding me? I said, if this is true, then what if they updated the statutes after they developed a new super weapon? Imagine that you've got regular nukes. And then all of a sudden one day you develop a wormhole weapon, a black hole. What did Sal call it? A plasma disruption fusion weapon. Imagine you develop a plasma disruption fusion weapon. And now all of a sudden you need new statutes to protect it because it doesn't classify under the existing statutes because it's too dissimilar from the existing weapons. So I said, holy shit, I want to look at what are the specific configurations and classifications for nuclear weapons from weapons of mass destruction. So we're going to get into that in just a second. But this is the last bit I want to show you. I'm going to read this off to you. Remember Edward Lynn when I read this off to you guys right now. Mishandling classified information, like what Edward Lynn did, especially if accidental, is usually handled as an administrative matter. However, more serious violations can incur criminal charges and penalties. Federal law code, whatever that says, states that anyone who knowingly removes such documents or materials without authority and with the intent to retain such documents or materials at an unauthorized location, this is exactly what Edward Lynn was stuck with, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for not more than 5 years. Not more than 5 years? So you're telling me if you break a release of classified information, the worst they can hit you with is 5 years in prison. The absolute worst. And if you guys know anything about the justice, the law, like first-time offenders and things like that, usually you only face a fraction of the total sentencing time, unless it's an egregious situation. So why did Lynn get 9 years? 9 years for Edward Lynn. And I want to point out, too, that there are two different ways charges can work. Charges can either stack up. I got 5 years for this, and I got 5 years for this. Or it can be concurrent. Meaning if you got two charges and they're both 5 years, you only have to serve 5 years time one time. Usually it's the latter. Usually it's concurrent sentencing. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize. But Usually it's that the most you could face is 5, even if you had like 3 charges of, retention of or release of documentation. Now, let's assume the other scenario, though. Even in a situation where there was 2 charges for Edward Lynn that he was guilty of, you're still giving him basically the maximum sentence for both of them. You're basically giving him maximum sentence for both of them, even if we are generous and assume that they would be back-to-back sentences. And this is not surprising. This is not surprising because whatever Edward Lynn leaked was such a huge leak of national security that it went all the way up to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It went to the highest levels. Whatever Edward Lynn leaked was so insignificant that it went all the way to the top. And we looked at the appeals. Edward Lynn's appeal argued. He actually made this exact argument. Edward Lynn, in his appeal, you can go look it up, says that he was overly sentenced compared to similar people with similar charges, which now we saw that. We know that's true. The worst anyone can even possibly get is only 5 years, and he got 9. And so what did the military do? In his appeal, it says right in the appeal, the military had to testify. They had to have military members testify in the appeal as to why what Edward Lynn did was so serious. Why? Because why the hell are you coming down on him so hard? They wouldn't show the videos. They wouldn't even show the evidence that he leaked. Why? Because it's the MH370 videos. That's the reason why. And yes, they made an example out of him. Okay. So what else do I have for you, chat? You know what? I just want to get right to the spice. So I start looking through these penal codes. Let me see if I can pull one of them up here. Let's pull up. I've got them up here for you, chat. Okay. I saved all these documents. And by the way, I started actually getting scared reading through these documents because I'm looking through these documents and I'm realizing, holy shit, this is super serious. I'm looking through this and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. They do not fuck around when it comes to nuclear weapons. They have like 20 different categories of nuclear weapon sensitivity. They call them sigmas. Sigmas 1 through 20, for example. And let me see. I took some notes, actually, but I want to show the big thing. So I had, first of all, just as normal, guys, I had no idea what to expect when I'm reading this, right? A lot of it's pretty mundane. Some of it's pretty scary. What I'll say as a summary is I found out that even theory is classified. The narrative that, like, you can talk about theory, no. Even nuclear weapon theory is classified. Like, you can't do anything related to nuclear weapons. And so actually, I started realizing when I was reading this, like, you know what? I actually have to be careful about talking about making a black hole super weapon, because if we push it too far, they might actually have real justification to come knocking on the door. And, like, you know, if they wanted to, you know, get me in trouble, that'd be fine. So here are the Sigma categories explained right here. It says Sigma categories: restricted data and or formerly restricted data in the following categories which concern design, manufacture, or utilization of atomic weapons or nuclear explosives. Here are the Sigmas. Look at Sigma 1. Sigma 1, chat. Look at what Sigma 1 says. The very first Sigma on the list. Hydrodynamic. Theory of operation, and it calls out hydrodynamic. Chat, what does hydrodynamic mean? Who in the chat knows what they're referring to when they're talking about hydrodynamic? Oh, they're talking about magnetohydrodynamic. They're talking about plasma. That's what they're talking about right there. They're talking about magnetohydrodynamics. The first Sigma. What does this mean? This means that the connection of plasma to nuclear weapons has to be really old. It must go back to almost the origins of nuclear classification. Magnetohydrodynamics in plasma must go all the way back to the very beginnings of nuclear weapons. Wow. So I saw that and was like, whoa, that's crazy. That's interesting. And then here's some normal stuff like theory of operation of fission weapons, manufacturing weapons, Sigma 3, pretty generic stuff here. The logistics of it, everything about it's classified for the most part. The effects. Here's another. What was the other interesting thing I saw in here? Where's the one about technical? I think maybe further down here. Oh, I don't want to spoil it. Purpose of tests. General nature of nuclear explosive tested. Somewhere in here, it also mentions like technical experiments of these weapons, which the MH370 videos could qualify as like a technical experiment of it. And it even mentions, like in the classification, they talk about footage. I guess what I'm getting at is when I was reading through this, I thought, you know what? They are recording every time they use one of these weapons. They're recording it. That's why they were recording MH370. They were recording it because they record every nuclear weapon test. They record every single nuclear weapon test. And all of them are classified. All of them are classified at the highest levels. Let's scroll down just a little bit more. This is where I just went, holy shit. What does Sigma 11 say, chat? What does Sigma 11 say? Information concerning inertial confinement fusion, which reveals or is indicative of weapon data. Holy shit. There it is. Yahtzee! Let's go, baby. Are you kidding me? Right there. Bingo. Sigma 11, information concerning inertial confinement fusion, which reveals or is indicative of weapon data. Literally the thing that Friedwart Winterberg's textbook says on the first page. The thing that I've been going on podcasts. You can watch the Resilient podcast, Resilient show that went live on Monday, where I said Friedwart Winterberg's textbook says on page 1, inertial confinement fusion has been kept secret for national security. And that's the reason why the world doesn't have unlimited green energy right now. And there it is. There it is right there and just spelled out. Spelled out. Oh, yeah, we got to play it. We got to play it. Holy shit. Where is it? Boom. Gotcha, bitch. I mean, holy crap. I was just looking at this. I'm just absolutely dumbfounded. Because once again, I didn't know what I was going to expect. I wouldn't expect it to just be spelled out right in the policy. Spelled out. I thought it would be like coded language or, you're going to have to dig to find the true. Nope, there it is. Right there. Boom. Wow. Okay, let me see what I got over here. So, I found another thing here too. Restricted data. Is it in this one or is it in the other document? I can't remember. I got 2 documents up here. Where's restricted? Is this it? All right, here it is. It's right here. Wait, is that the right one? Oh, this is different. Let me see. Where's their other restricted data? Here it is. Is this the same one? Okay, yeah. Restricted data. So, restricted data is something Eric Weinstein has talked about. In fact, I might have a clip. Let me see if I have a clip. No, I don't have it. So, Eric Weinstein talks about restricted data. Restricted data basically means it's born secret. It means you don't even have to classify it. You don't even have to classify it because the moment you talk about it, it's automatically secret. So what does this say right here about restricted data? Let's read this. The data which is defined in Section 11Y of the Atomic Energy Act of 1954, as amended, as all data concerning design, manufacture, or utilization of atomic weapons, the production of special nuclear material, or, wait for it, the use of special nuclear material in the production of energy. The use of special nuclear material in the production of energy. Right there. You want to know how are they keeping free energy secret from the world? How and why are they keeping fusion secret from the world? It's literally spelled out right there in the restricted data paragraph. Any fuel source that is nuclear based that produces energy is classified. It's classified as restricted data. Holy shit. But shall not include data declassified or removed from the restricted data category. So we look at this, and for the people out there that are going, holy shit, I mean, imagine what I was thinking yesterday when I'm reading this. I'm just reading this and I'm going, okay, yeah, we're right. We're right. Like, we're 100% right. There's no way you can just randomly guess exactly how the classifications, the restrictions are all working. Energy, literal energy is classified under restricted data. It's not just, oh, the big booms are classified. No, literally production of energy is classified. This actually made me even wonder. It's possible that the helium-3, the boron-11, the fuel sources in aneutronic fusion, they might be classified. And there's another, this is a crazy thought. Let's call this a stretch. There might be another fuel source. What if there's another fuel source that is not boron-11, that is not helium-3, that is an aneutronic fusion source that is used for thermonuclear weapons? And what if it's kept secret all the time, everywhere, because it is related to nuclear weapons? Somebody guessed it already. What would that be? What could that fuel source? Have we heard of any other fuel sources that could be used potentially that we haven't seen a lot of data on, but that have been speculated with relation to nuclear weapons? There is one. Lithium. I sprinkled a little lithium in there. Castle Bravo test. Sprinkled a little boron and lithium. When we added the lithium to our boron, all of a sudden, the nuclear detonation went from 6 megatons to 15 megatons. This is documented by Richter in the Castle Bravo tests. So we know there's a connection to lithium to thermonuclear weapons. But when you look out there, there's almost no literature about it. But you can get Grok and AI to spit back. And in fact, it was Friedwart Winterberg's textbook. I'm so happy I read a thermonuclear weapons textbook. It gave me so much clarity over a lot of this. His textbook says if you add a lithium to your deuterium reaction, you can basically get a chain reaction that just keeps persisting. Do you get what I'm saying? As in, add a little lithium to your thermonuclear detonation, and the byproducts filter back in, and they cause the reaction to just keep going. So lithium might be the thing that they're hiding. They might actually be hiding another fuel source related to lithium, and they might even have used it on the plane. Now, it's not a requirement. We don't know for sure. They could probably have used multiple different fuel sources. But what if lithium is actually one of these sources, one of these fuels? And what if it was related to what they did to the plane? Pretty crazy, guys. This is like crazy documents. So I will share these documents with you guys in the Discord for you guys later tonight if you want to read them yourself. I do recommend reading them because I think it's so important when you're an investigator, when you're researching, to really understand the context. We need to understand, like, how is stuff classified? How do they categorize things? One more thing I found out about this was they updated the which one was it? I think it's the one that I mentioned about, like, critical nuclear weapons. They updated the policy in 2011 and 2013. So a lot of these policies, hello, Lauren. A lot of these policies got updated around 2011 and 2013 while Obama was in office. And why I thought that was significant was because I went, wait a minute. If we developed wormhole technology, this would have all been classified under the Atomic Secrecy Act, under these same provisions. So what if they changed and updated the policies because we developed a new superweapon in the 2000s? And so then Obama gets put into office. He redoes all the security policies. Because why? Because now we've got a brand new superweapon. Now we've got a brand new superweapon and we need to categorize it correctly. Okay, cool. So now if you guys are interested in that, if you thought that was, enjoyable, check out those documents. I'll put them in the Discord later. And if you find anything else interesting in there, because there might be more juicy tidbits. I mean, I kind of glossed through it. I found some good stuff in there, but who knows? There might even be more stuff in there. The things that we should be looking for, like I found also, like, certain people in the DOE can actually classify or determine if something's going to be secret or not secret. So there is some ambiguity, but ultimately, just like everybody's been saying in the UFO community, the classification, everything falls to the DOE, the Department of Energy. I will put a Discord invite in the chat when we finish up here tonight, guys. Okay. Whew. Let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to touch on related to that. Yeah. Okay. That's it about for that. Okay. So just if you missed the last live stream, we talked about John Knuckles, who was one of the people that optimized the thermonuclear detonations to remove it or reduce at least the neutrons, which is the heat, the radiation that comes off of nukes. So what are you left with when you remove the neutrons? I think you're left with a ball of energy, which could manipulate space-time. Now, the other video we're going to take a look at here is Hal Puthoff tonight, guys. If you are not familiar with Hal Puthoff is former CIA, and he's also former Defense Intelligence Agency. He's former Stanford Research Institute. He's former remote viewer or remote viewing scientist. And he's the world's leading expert on 0-point energy. So I'm digging around trying to find the clip. It's been a while, I guess. I didn't pull it up here. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay. Almost 25 years old. Actually, it is 25, basically. This here, that's the man right there. That's the GOAT, chat. This is the GOAT, the OG 0-point energy GOAT, Hal Puthoff. This interview here from the year 2000, 25 years ago. Here's Hal Puthoff talking to Stephen Greer 25 years ago, talking about 0-point energy. Yo, you think his hair's fake? Let me look. It does kind of look fake, but I think it's probably real. Who knows? So, Hal Puthoff looks old as shit in this video. Hal Puthoff looks old as shit in this video, and he's still alive now, 25 years later. He actually doesn't even look that much different 25 years later. This is the part where I was kind of rude, obviously, to Scott Adams, Dilbert writer. But Scott Adams is dying from cancer. Scott Adams, what is he, in his 60s? How old is he? 68 years old. Scott Adams is only 68 years old. Hal Puthoff in this video is older than Scott Adams is now. And he's still alive. He's still alive. This is why I say people like Scott Adams, they have suicidal ignorance. It's a new word, new phrase that I just came up with. New word, new buzzwords today, chat. Sigma 11. Sigma 11 sounds dope as shit. And then also suicidal ignorance. Suicidal ignorance is you are literally going to die because you don't believe in science. You don't believe in science. Do you really think, guys, all these nuclear engineers, John Knuckles is still alive? Dude was working on A-bombs in the 60s and he's still alive right now? He was working on A-bombs 30 years before I was born. H-bombs, 30 years before I was born. And he's still alive now. These dudes are living multiple standard deviations longer than life expectancy. They're all lit. John Kramer, George Miley. These guys are all alive, and they're all deep into their 90s. Life expectancy in the United States is 76 years old. These dudes are living 20 plus years beyond life expectancy. And all it would take is people like Scott Adams to wake up to the fact that they've got all this classified technology, which is not just energy production. There's almost certainly life extension and or longevity related to this technology as well. And that's at least my personal opinion. Or these guys just happen to know the secrets of how to eat right to live an extra 20 or 30 years. Plus, Hal Puthoff is like, not only is he in his 90s, but he's still going and doing talks and conferences and all this stuff. So suicidal ignorance is literally dying of cancer when we probably have the cure for cancer hidden, and all it would take is you to wake up to 0 point energy. That's all it would take. Let's listen to the GOAT, chat. I've ranted long enough today. Loud.
Let's start by talking about 0 point energy.
Mm-hmm.
Since you're one of the leading researchers in that field, I'd love to just get a really basic.
Right.
So the first question: what is 0 point energy? Right. This is the most basic question. What is 0 point energy? Okay. Come on, my GOAT.
Really empty at all. It's actually full of energy. So instead of being like,
so space is not empty at all. It's filled. The very first thing he says, very first thing Hal Puthoff says is space is not empty. It's filled with energy. Okay. We can't hear the question, but you can hear Hal Puthoff pretty well. Here you go.
kind of a quiet, empty lake. It's more like the froth at the base of a waterfall or something. And this energy is basically electromagnetic in nature. And the energy density is quite high. In fact, it's so high that when it was first discovered mathematically, it was thought to be some kind of artifact of the mathematics. But then as time went on, there were even Nobel Prize winning experiments that showed that this energy in so-called empty space was really there. We don't usually notice it because it's so homogeneously distributed. It'd sort of be like sitting in a bathtub with at exactly your body temperature. You might not notice the water. But under certain circumstances, it can be disturbed or perturbed, and then it has effects.
So he's saying it's electromagnetic. We have this electromagnetic energy. When the energy density was calculated, it was so high that they didn't believe it. They didn't believe it. They tried to calculate this energy density, and it was so massive, they thought, no, this can't be real. And so Hal Puthoff says, how is that possible? Because it's in equilibrium. It's homogeneously distributed. Homogeneously distributed means it's basically in an equilibrium, like a calm ocean, calm lake. Everything's in balance. But if you rip it out of balance, now you can interact with it. How do we rip it out of balance? How do we churn up the 0 point energy? Well, it's electromagnetic in nature. If the 0 point energy is electromagnetic in nature, then we just need to use electromagnetism to interact with it.
As I mentioned, some effects on atomic emission, for example, is what eventually ended up in a Nobel Prize for Willis Lamb of Yale University. It's called the Lamb shift. And this is a recognition that, in fact, this energy disturbs atoms. So atoms aren't sitting in a void. They're sitting in the sea of energy.
Atoms are not sitting in a void. What he's saying there is atoms are not sitting in empty space. They're sitting in a sea of energy. This is Hal Puthoff's 1987 paper, Ground State of the Hydrogen Atom. That's literally what he was arguing. Ground state of the hydrogen atom. Hal Puthoff argues every atom is actually exchanging energy with the 0-point energy all the time. All the time. Remember, this is from 2000. Nobody in 2000 knew that 0-point energy was real. Like everybody. You had talked to them about 0-point energy in 2000, they'd have thought you're talking about sci-fi nonsense. They'd be like, yeah, what about the flux magnetometer? Right? They would make a joke about Star Trek. Hal Puthoff's not joking here. Hal Puthoff's 100% serious here.
So once quantum theorists realized that energy was there, the next question was, well, is there any way to tap it? And it was thought originally that probably not. It might be like trying to tap the heat energy around us. And you can quickly prove for thermodynamic reasons that it'll take more energy to tap it than you get out of it, so you don't come out ahead. But back in about 1984, a researcher at Hughes Laboratory by the name of Robert Forward showed that there was a particular effect called the Casimir effect, which demonstrated that, in fact, this energy could be tapped, even though on a minuscule basis to start. And that is, if you put up two metal plates, it slightly shields the region in between, just like a car might shield radio signals coming in. And because this energy comes from all sides, if it's slightly shielded in the interior portion between a couple of plates, these plates will get pushed together, and that's the Casimir force, pulls plates together. And then when they hit, they create heat. So we've actually converted some of this vacuum energy into heat. Well, when you go look at the numbers.
The Casimir effect shows that we actually can take this energy and convert it into heat. So this energy can be turned to useful work. So the big lie that you hear from people, though I've done a good job of dispelling it, is, okay, yes, the 0-point energy is real, but it's insignificant. Well, that's bullshit. It's not insignificant. The next thing they say is, well, there's no way to get work out of it. There's no way to get energy out of the 0-point energy. That's also bullshit. The Casimir effect proved, Hendrik Casimir, 1948, proved that it's there. And then so who does Hal Puthoff name drop? We need to remember these names. He name drops Robert Forward. Robert Forward. He says Robert Forward showed you could use the Casimir effect to charge a battery. This proves, doesn't theoretically, I mean, 100% proves, at least on a theoretical basis, that you can use the Casimir effect to produce real energy. That means there's actually something there, and you're actually tapping into it. That's what that means. Robert Forward was the mentor of Eric W. Davis. Eric W. Davis is currently Hal Puthoff's right-hand man. Right-hand man. Author of 6 of the Defense Intelligence Reference documents, 6 of them. Eric W. Davis. His mentor was Robert Forward.
You find out that there's enough energy in the coffee cup to evaporate all the world's oceans, if you could.
So how much energy is there? Enough energy in the empty space of a coffee cup to vaporize all the Earth's oceans, aka a shitload of energy.
Get it all of it. So this raised the issue among theorists. Well, can we manipulate this energy? Could we tap it for spaceflight application, for example? And there are a couple ways to go. Could we get propulsion out of it? Could we use it as an energy source? And so these are the areas that modern theorists are looking at. One of the consequences is that the idea that, well, it could be manipulated and distorted in such ways to get propulsion out of it. And this has led to the concept of what's called the Alcubierre warp drive. Alcubierre is a well-known general relativity theorist.
Wait. I remember hearing that for the first time. He goes, okay, we're going to try to see if we can pull some of this energy out. And when we were doing this, it led to the theory of the Alcubierre warp drive. Miguel Alcubierre, 1991, basically says, okay, we've got that flat ocean. We're looking at this flat ocean of 0-point energy. And he says, well, if we just make an asymmetry in it, a wave, If we make a wave in this 0 point energy, we can just surf the wave. Then we're not moving at all. Just like if I'm on a surfboard, I'm not moving on the surfboard. The surfboard is just floating on the wave. We can do the exact same thing with the 0 point energy, which is the equivalent of doing the exact same thing with space-time itself. If we manipulate space-time itself, we can make an asymmetry and we can ride the wave, ride the gravity wave. We can ride the gravity wave. So this right here was the moment. Whether or not you're a new follower or you've been following for a while, this was the moment when I watched this 2 years ago. I went, holy shit, the answer is 0 point energy. Because I already knew that it was Miguel Alcubierre's warp drive metric was the answer, just from stuff that I had seen and researched. But then to hear that they said, oh, when we were working through 0 point energy, that's what came up with the theory of the warp drive. It's like, oh shit. It's not, there's not like a million different theories about how warp drives and wormholes are possible. There's just one. It's 0 point energy. 0 point energy is the answer. And that's the reason why today I'm a 0 point energy influencer. 2 years ago, when I figured this out, was the day that I decided, holy shit, I'm going to become a 0 point energy influencer. Because that's the secret to, that's the underlying basis to all of this. How is free energy real? How is warp drive real? How is wormholes real? 0 point energy. 0 point energy is all the answers.
And he posed himself an interesting question. He said, well, everybody's heard of Star Trek. Could warp drive a la Star Trek be obtained, at least in principle, without violating any physics? Just standard, straight, textbook physics. That was one constraint. He wanted to know, could he beat the speed of light? Could he have breakfast here, go to Alpha Centauri for lunch, and come back for dinner? Another thing is that he wanted to avoid time problems. For example, he'd like to have breakfast with his wife and children, go have lunch, come back, and not be talking to his great-great-great-grandchildren. And also, could he do it in such a way that he wasn't turned into salsa on the back of the spaceship due to massive acceleration? And he actually found that there were solutions that would permit you to do it in principle, and published them in regular general relativity journals. Well, that's the good news. The bad news is the energy it would take to do that is so out of sight that, you know, there's no way we're going to do it on the original basis of the original calculation.
So he says, okay, you know what? Not only were we able to do the math, show that we can make a wave, not only could we make a wave, but we can actually explain it in general relativity terms. He says we can take Einstein's equations and we can explain how we can make a gravity wave. AKA, we can prove that Einstein was right. We can prove that he was right, that gravitational waves are real. That's what he thought. He says, we can show this, but then they find out, uh-oh, there's a problem. What's the problem? The energy requirements are too high. We do the math and we find out, okay, but the energy requirement to bend space-time is like the mass of Jupiter. Oh, well, that's a problem, right? We don't have the mass of Jupiter hanging around. So therefore, we can't do it. It must be fake. And if you actually ask people today, that is the number one answer you'll get back from any PhD physicist that's a normie. Any normie PhD physicist. The number one answer you'll get back is they'll say, well, the energy requirements are too high. But what did we just review? We were just reviewing nuclear weapons, thermonuclear weapons, and we found out everything is classified, including energy production. Energy production is classified. So, and what did we just find out about lithium? Or what did I say about lithium? Lithium might have a runaway chain reaction where it just keeps going and going and going. So when I go, hey, where could we get a whole bunch of energy? Anyone know where we could get like a huge amount of energy? Oh, thermonuclear weapons. Sounds like the perfect place to get a whole bunch of energy, right? And recently, I mean, when I say recently, I mean probably a few years after this interview, Matt Visser, I believe he's actually from my alma mater. Matt Visser comes around and says, actually, we can reduce the energy requirement. We can reduce the energy requirement. How? Make it so that your wormhole has no throat. So in the Star Trek movies, you got your wormhole opens up over here, right? And you go in your wormhole. And then you're like flying around in the wormhole. Whee, here we go. And then you come out the other side. Matt Visser says you're not going to have a throat in your wormhole. Instead, you're just literally connecting 2 points in space-time. Flat-faced wormhole. Almost like you're doing a cut and paste and moving this over here. That will drastically reduce the energy requirements. And I think there's multiple different kinds of wormhole. I think what they call it is a polyhedral wormhole, like a cutting out of space-time. And how much does this reduce the energy requirements to? To an arbitrarily small amount of energy. This is a direct quote from Eric W. Davis. Eric W. Davis says, Matt Visser showed that the energy requirements for the wormhole can be reduced to an arbitrarily small amount. And this is where you should watch the Salvatore Pais interview from this last Sunday. Because we were talking, and basically what came out, this is where I think we probably pushed national security the furthest, was where we determined it may be possible to achieve the Schwinger limit, which is potentially the limit where space-time breaks down. It's possible to reduce the Schwinger limit. Basically say, if we create this huge amount of energy, we hit the ceiling. Once we hit this ceiling, boom, you've now bent space-time. And Sal basically said, there may be ways where we can make that ceiling come down. Make that ceiling go down. And one of those answers may be superconductivity. Maybe superconductivity. We're going to leave it especially theoretical right here because I just finished reading all the classifications about nuclear weapons, and we've definitely been pushing the limit. Okay, let's get back to the video.
Since then, some theorists have found some shortcuts and have reduced the energy requirement. So instead of needing the energy of the galaxy, we're down to the energy of maybe Jupiter, its mass or whatever. But still, it shows a kind of thinking that's opening up in the field. And so NASA, who started a breakthrough propulsion physics program, looking for alternatives to firing up spaceships, have set up a very avant-garde program, not spending a lot of money on it. But basically, they want to be hopefully inundated with ideas, some of which might bear fruition. And so, in fact, we've had a number of meetings. I've hosted one myself. Had a major meeting at the Glenn Research.
Wait, Hal hosted one of the breakthrough physics propulsion meetings himself? Of course he did. What am I even thinking? Of course he did. Breakthrough physics propulsion. This is probably one of the very, very important NASA experiments. Or let's say conferences. For several years, they had some of the top physicists come together, including John Kramer, Eric W. Davis, and Hal Puthoff. They all came together and they started researching all these topics. And I put the big web up on my Twitter a while back. You can look at it, of all the different concepts. Negative energy, vacuum extraction, warp, they're all considered viable. All considered viable. The other thing I want to point out here is that now that we know about classifications, we also know that Hal Puthoff is buried in NDAs. Imagine that Hal Puthoff had seen something like the MH370 operation. If Hal Puthoff had seen an operation where we used a weapon like this, he would never be able to talk about it ever, because it's never going to be declassified. And what this would mean is that in his mind, while he's talking all the time, he can never reference anything where we saw one of those TSs or Cs or whatever, right? He can never mention that. Now even think back to what Sal's been saying. When I've interviewed Sal, realize that we now know what it looks like when somebody has NDAs. When somebody has a bunch of NDAs where they've seen classified information and they can't reveal the classified information, then they have to be careful every time what they're saying. They have to be careful. Oh, did I see that in a document where it had a little letter next to it? Because if I did, I can't talk about it. So they have to speak in extremely generic terms, and they can only speak about certain topics that are safe, where they know they're not going to get in trouble. There's no chance they're going to accidentally, inadvertently reveal some classified information. Now, just for a second, I want to show something else, because I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this.
I get that question.
This right here is President Donald Trump. This is the interview that Trump did with Joe Rogan. Now, keep in the back of your mind that Donald Trump 100% has seen documents that have the little letters next to them, and he can't talk about anything where the letters say, which means that anytime a topic comes up where he's seen classified information, he has to be careful about exactly what he says. Now, let's see what Donald Trump says here when he gets asked about aliens.
As much as almost any question. I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you think?
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life, because
Mars, we've had probes there and rovers, and I don't think there's any life there.
Well, maybe it's life that we don't know, but
maybe there was life there at one point in time. This is the speculation about Mars, that Mars had an atmosphere at one point.
Joe Rogan is lecturing the president of the United States, who has the highest possible security clearance, where he had to be careful about the alien question, right? I get asked that question, and you can see he's like, okay, how am I going to respond to this question? How can I respond to this question in an unclassified way? And what does he say? He says, there's no reason to believe that Mars and all these planets don't have life on them. This clip is so insane in retrospect, because 2 days ago, NASA admitted there's life on Mars. Bacterial life, but life nonetheless. And this here is Donald Trump, like not even a year ago. I don't even think this is a year old. Out here going, hey, there's no reason to believe there's not life on Mars. That is such a crazy thing for someone to say a year ago. And now it's been confirmed. The people in the replies were watching this going, holy shit. And why is Joe Rogan acting so weird? I mean, I don't think Joe Rogan's a plant, but this is a really weird thing to be cutting the president off about this and be like, no, there's no life on Mars. He's like, no, there's no life on Mars. We sent probes up there. There's no life on Mars. Like, bro, did you watch Ashton Forbes' live stream? I mean, granted, it was yesterday, but if you watch my live stream, to claim there's no evidence of life on Mars is insane. There's been evidence of life on Mars for a long ass time. Whether or not you give it a lot of credibility, that's a different thing. But to say we sent probes up there and we didn't find, what do you mean? The Viking rover found organics in 1976. Viking rover found organics in 1976. And you're telling me we sent probes up there and we didn't find anything? Weird.
And I don't think there's any life there.
Well, maybe it's life that we don't know, but
maybe there was life there at one point in time. This is a speculation about Mars, that Mars had an atmosphere at one point in time, a long time ago, that could support life. It also had large bodies of water, but we've had no evidence of even bacterial life that exists on Mars. But
no evidence of bacterial life that exists on Mars? I mean, this did not age well for Joe Rogan at all. We've now have, by the way, guys, less than 1 year later, we now have confirmation of bacterial life on Mars. Less than 1 year later. And Donald Trump even tries to step in and go, maybe it's life we're not familiar with. Like he's almost like he's saying that he knows there's bacterial life on Mars. And Joe Rogan's going full on Redditor. Actually, we checked and sent probes up there, and there's no life anywhere on Mars. It's a dead planet. Nothing going on there. Nothing growing around on Mars. Wow, dude. That clip. I hope that in the next Joe Rogan, where they have to, I don't know, whenever Joe Rogan talks about this life on Mars thing, I hope Jamie plays that clip. And it would be even better if he plays this live stream of that clip of me just shitting on Joe Rogan. Because wow, bro, did not age well. Did not age well. And then the last thing is Trump must know, man. Why? It's so random for Trump to be like, yeah, there's no reason not to think there's life on Mars. And maybe it's not like we think. Maybe it's not life like what we think. But there's still something out there. Wow. So Trump definitely knows. I'm 100% convinced that Trump knows about aliens. He knows about the orbs and the fusion bomb technology. I think he knows about all of it. I think he knows about all of it. And this is where people would said before Trump got elected, the UFO community, especially the woke half of the UFO community, they would all say, if Trump knew about it, he would blab about it. Trump can't keep quiet about anything. He would be blabbing about the aliens. He would be He literally is. He literally went on Joe Rogan and he was blabbing about it. He went on Joe Rogan. He's like, yep, there's life on Mars. Just said it. And everybody just ignored it. And then the funniest part is after he blabs, like after he says, we have weapons nobody understands, we're way more powerful, then the same exact people said he would talk about it if he did. He goes, no, he's just exaggerating. That's what Trump does. He just lies. He just exaggerates. It's like, bro, you're the one who just said if he knew, he would say it. And now he is saying it, and you're going, nah, he's lying. I mean, you can't have it both ways, man. You can't have it both ways. Is it that Trump will blab about it, or that Trump's not going to blab about it and make up a fake story about it? It's like, this is the problem. The goalposts are just constantly moving. So I'm of the opinion that when Trump says stuff, when he's talking about weapons that nobody understands, he's talking about aliens, we should be listening to him. We should be listening to what he says, because he's the president of the United States with the highest classifications, where if any document gets on his desk, he has full access to it. Full access. So we've learned a lot today. A lot. We're not going to be able to get through this whole interview, but I want to play a little bit more of this.
Center in Cleveland. Out of that came a program in which proposals were asked for and provided. And a certain number of physicists did get some support to carry out experiments just to see if it looked like it was going to lead anywhere in this direction. One of the experiments that was funded by this program is an experiment to investigate driving something with a zero-point energy source. Well, to start, it's just can you drive a little oscillator, a little Casimir oscillator? So it's really kind of looking at the fundamentals to see if we have the fundamentals right. We're still decades away, maybe centuries away, even if these experiments are successful.
Mask off moment right there, chat. That was the mask off moment. We might actually end the stream here off this moment right there. What he just said there, he said that NASA breakthrough propulsion, he said there were several proposals that were put in after that. And some of those proposals, one of those proposals was about using the Casimir effect to produce propulsion. This is basically the EM drive. This is not exactly the same, but it's really similar concept to the EM drive, the impossible drive. And I looked at those proposals. One of the proposals, if I remember correctly, is from John Kramer. John Kramer himself, I think, got one of those proposals. But then what does he say? He says, we're just doing it. We're just experimenting with the theory. We're just experimenting with the theory right now. These ideas are decades away, maybe centuries away. He let the mask slip for a second. These technologies are centuries away. They were not going to reveal this technology ever. They were never, ever, ever going to reveal this technology. And this is the most powerful evidence, in my opinion. This is circumstantial. The most powerful circumstantial evidence that not even the government faked the MH370 videos. The reason why the government didn't fake the MH370 videos is because they were never going to reveal that technology. Nobody had ever seen space-time manipulation, and they were never going to show it to people. They were going to keep it secret forever. In fact, if you look at the UFO community, even now in 2025, There is absolutely no appetite whatsoever to reveal this technology. The very same people that believe the aliens are visiting us and all this other bullshit have no interest, no curiosity over how those same aliens are getting here. None. They just think it's magical alien technology, just magical alien physics. The aliens are just so much smarter than us. They just know stuff that humans can't possibly understand. This is why I say that disclosure is never going to happen. All this shit you're seeing in the media, it's all a circus. It's all a show to intentionally accomplish nothing. As long as everybody's talking about the aliens are real, the aliens are videos, we can't know what I'm looking at in this video. It must be a balloon. As long as people are talking about that stupid shit, nobody's talking about the real questions that matter. What is the energy source of your UFO? It's aneutronic fusion. It's inertial confinement fusion. It's literally classified under Sigma 11. Literally classified under Sigma 1 and Sigma 11. Sigma 1, magnetohydrodynamics. Sigma 11, inertial confinement fusion. Literally classified for nuclear secrets, and they had no appetite. Not even Hal Puthoff. Even Hal Puthoff, the GOAT himself right here, is saying, you might get some of this wormhole technology or free energy technology in 100 years. In 100 years, we might give it to you. Now, I think the reality is that they will give it to us when the adversaries figure it out. When the adversaries like China and Russia figure it out and they start deploying it, all of a sudden the United States will, oh yeah, we got that too. Yeah, we've had some of that. Oh, you got a lollipop? Our lollipop's better. Here you go. That's probably, or in like a significant war. But even in the case of a war, this is kind of the sickest thing. I think they would let us get hit by a dirty bomb. They would let a major city get wiped out by a nuke before they would deploy, before they would expose this technology publicly. That's my biggest fear of all this, is that it's so secret, that they're so protective of this technology that they will let millions of people die to keep it secret. I think that's what scares me the most about this whole situation. So, what can we do? What do we do about this? We know there's this 0 point energy. We can tap into it for free energy. The 0 point energy is probably what the source of fusion is. If you can produce a coherent ball of plasma that's self-stabilizing. How is it self-stabilizing? Because all the atoms are exchanging energy with a 0 point energy all the time. To me, I mean, I don't even know how we get this out, chat. I don't even know. At this point, like, you look around and you see the ignorance, you see the suicidal ignorance, you see the people like Sam Tripoli, who's one of the biggest conspiracy people on the planet, making posts like, Ashton's wrong again. Like, we are just straight up cooked. Even the people that should be open to these ideas, it's just so far over their head that they just don't get it at all. And this is why I made the post that humanity does not deserve free energy. We are definitely going to destroy ourselves with this technology. In fact, I understand why the woke disclosure government is hiding it. I mean, it makes sense. Look at how divisive we are. Look at all the fucking political gaslighting that's going on 24/7. Of course we're going to annihilate ourselves with this technology. Shit, if you gave me the decision, I might be like, okay, we're just going to plug right back into the matrix. Like, forget this technology. We're going to forget about all this technology. We're just going to go back to the Amish times. We're going to go back to the simple times where it's just horse and buggy moving around. No technology for anybody, because the moment we get access to technology, we become monsters. Literal monsters. Okay, guys, we're going to cut it there. Thank you guys so much. Let me do some of these donos, and then I'll put a link to the Discord in here as well. And then I'll put those papers in the Discord. If you guys find anything else, tag me in the Discord, or you can DM it to me if you want as well, but preferably just tag it, because I have a feeling we're going to find even more stuff in there. I think we're going to find even more stuff. Oh, but actually, the last thing I'll say is that how we get this out is enough people have to wake up to it, right? Enough people have to wake up. And then once everybody wakes up to it, everyone's just going to pretend like they knew the whole time. Like, mark this down. This is how it's going to play out. Everybody's going to ridicule this idea, all this bullshit. And then once it becomes unavoidable, they'll all be like, oh, yeah, of course, we all knew 0 point energy was real. We always knew 0 point energy was real. We just had to do this one experiment and give this guy the Nobel Prize. We didn't have the experimental data to believe in it yet. They're all going to pretend like they were always on board with 0 point energy. That's what they're going to do. Because how do I know that? Because that's how the human condition works every single time. Just like with the Iraq war, where everybody's supporting the Iraq war and the yellow cake uranium. And then we find out it's all a big sham. And then everybody goes, I never supported the Iraq war. Who would have supported the Iraq war? Nobody ever supported that Iraq war. It's going to be the same exact thing when we get with the 0 point energy. So just get ready for it, chat. Get ready for it. And that's, I think, part of the reason why there's this systematic, coordinated attacks on my character, because they can't let me get credit. They can't let me get credit for this. Even if I get partial credit for this, then people are going to be like, oh, shit, this Ashton Forbes guy knew about 0 point energy? How did he know about that? Oh, because the MH370 videos. Because he's literally 24/7 saying these videos are real, and that's how he figured everything out. So they've got to somehow marginalize me to a degree where somebody else can come in and pretend to make the discovery, so that they can be like, oh, this person made the discovery. This is a person. They're a good person. Ashton's an evil person. Don't believe what Ashton said because he's evil. We're not going to tell you why. He hurts people. He's bad. But this person is good. They're the ones who figured it all out. That's what's going to happen, chat. Okay, Jan, thank you very much for this donation. Appreciate you. Says, I have collected knowledge for 25 years about everything. That is awesome. I appreciate it. And I'm glad there are other people who are doing this. I'm not out here trying to say I'm the first person to do this. I'm probably just one of the more successful ones. But other people have been researching this, doing a lot of work, and many people have figured it out too. I'm not the first person to figure it out, not any of these things. So credit to all you goats out there, all you secret goats out there who have been researching 0 point energy. Like, I'll just shout out like Nassim Haramein, for example. Credit to you, man. Seriously, like, bravo to be on this way before everybody else was. Wally Hot Sauce, don't let them drain your energy. Does it seem like my energy's drained, chat? The thing about it is you can have every person attacking me. You can have conspiracy people attacking me, UFO people attacking me. It doesn't work on me. These other people, like D. Prasad, this dude was having a psychological break yesterday. He was having a psychological break because of all the people attacking him. Doesn't work on me at all. You could have the whole world attacking me, and it wouldn't even faze me a little bit. Not even a little bit. Maybe that's my superpower. Who knows? Thank you very much for that donation, though. Lupazon.com. Can you lay out what evidence rules out perhaps unknown non-U.S. military forces? The best evidence for why we're looking at a U.S. military operation is we're literally looking through classified military surveillance. And the military surveillance in question is drones. Now, when we thought it might be a satellite video, because it's literally called satellite video, then it was possible that we just inadvertently caught the plane getting zapped by some orbs, right? Because, oh, we've got satellites everywhere. We just happen to catch it. But once we found out it's not a satellite video, once we found out there's a drone above the plane, there's a drone above the plane, chat, recording with whammy, with cameras on the wings. A drone above the plane, above a random Boeing 777 that's on fire off its main course in the middle of the ocean. Why is that drone up there, chat? Why is there a drone above a missing plane? There's only one answer. And why is there a second drone? Why is there a second drone horizontal to the plane? Delta, don't sue me. Why is there a second drone staring at the plane like this and then another drone up here? Why do you think, chat? There is only one answer. And this is why these videos, why the MH370 videos are the thing that nobody will talk about. Because they are recorded in such a way that it 100% implicates the U.S. government. The only reason why that drone is that, and it's not just like looking at the plane, it's right next to the plane. It flies under the wake of the plane. That drone intercepted the plane. Why? Because it's an operation. The whole thing was planned out. The whole thing was a planned operation. That's the evidence that, in my mind, conclusively proves that the orbs are a United States weapon. And I'm somebody that would have easily believed that those orbs were alien if the circumstantial evidence led to that. But it doesn't. It doesn't. And this is also why we're not talking about it. If that was random aliens zapping the plane, Jeremy Corbell, that grifter piece of crap, would have been in my DMs begging me to be a whistleblower for him and go on all his stupid TV shows so he could do all his sensationalized drama and talk about how the aliens zapped MH370 and maybe they're in the negative dimension with the aliens getting butt raped, right? He would have loved that crap. But Jeremy Corbell knew right away there was not aliens zapping that plane. He knew right away that's not aliens zapping that plane. It is the United States government. And that's why no one will talk about it. It's a combination of sources and methods, a literal black operation conducted by the CIA or JSOC or some deep state kind of situation. And it's using nuclear weapons, the most secret critical defense network technology. What do they call it? Critical nuclear weapon secrets. The most secret nuclear weapons. This is why no one will talk about the videos. This is why no one can even comment on them. One of the big questions people ask is like, why won't Ryan Graves make a comment on the videos? Why won't Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis? Why don't any of these people make a comment about it? They literally will not even comment on the videos. Well, now we know why. It's a breaking of classified information to even comment about the existence of the videos. You can't say anything about them, even if they're already leaked on the internet. Because even if they're leaked on the internet, that does not declassify them. They're still classified, even though they've leaked on the internet. And so if you are in the know, if you know that's Gorgon stare wide area motion imagery, you're literally not allowed to publicly talk about it. You're not allowed to publicly talk. You're not even allowed to publicly talk about it after you leave. After you leave the military, you still can't talk about it. You can never talk about it. This is why Sean Cahill, Minty Hyperspace on Twitter, I've pressed him like 5 times because he made an unsolicited comment about how whoever, if somebody made those videos, they must have known about the DIRDs. The papers that Hal Puthoff published? Yeah. And I said, hey, bro, you talk to me about these videos. Refuses. Well, pretends like I don't exist. All these people pretend like I don't exist, and they won't talk about the videos. And now, after today, we know why. Okay. Resolute Decide says, could a contractor be solely responsible? This was actually a point that I did not bring up, but the same nuclear secrets, all those statutes, they also apply to defense contractors. Any defense contractor that works on these technologies also is under the exact same super strict regulations. Some of you in the chat who are smart are thinking and going, wait a minute. Lockheed Martin, compact fusion reactor, Charles Chase. Why is Charles Chase also dodging me? I mean, the guy's a super nice guy. He loves science. Charles Chase should be super interested in the MH370 videos. All the stuff Charles Chase reviews is exactly the same stuff that I review. But for some reason, he doesn't want to make any comments about the MH370 videos. And I specifically called him out in an email that I've never shared asking, did you make these videos, bro? Did you make these videos? And he wouldn't respond to the email. Wouldn't respond to the email. Not even to say no. Not even to say you're crazy. Not even to be not even a polite, no, I didn't make the videos. I have nothing to do with it. Just wouldn't respond at all. I think now we know why. Peace and love. Thank you very much for that super sticker. I appreciate it. Okay, Pill Chat. Pill Chat. What do we got going on? Pill Chat. Thank you with God's grace. I appreciate that. Gold Pills by Raising Cane. Raising Cane, you're a goat, my friend. And then Matt1776 gives me the cookie. Why do people in the UFO community keep getting off on threatening you? You know what? That's a really great question. I really don't understand it because I think it's because of jealousy. I think it's because they're concerned that if I end up being right, then like their credibility is destroyed forever. Right? A lot of these people, especially early on, went all in on the videos being fake. When I say they went all in, what I mean is they were ridiculing anybody that believed the videos were real, ridiculing them mercilessly, ridiculing them. They claimed that the science wasn't real, that those weren't UFOs. They told people not to look at them. So now if it were to come out that those videos are real, their credibility is permanently not eroded, but straight up shattered. Shatters their credibility forever. And it's such a huge black eye to the UFO community because this is a community that's been researching UFOs for decades, since the 90s at least, that believes that aliens are visiting us. And so for someone like me to come in with those videos and say, nope, you're all wrong. It's not aliens. It's mostly US technology. And to show it in such a straightforward way and to figure out the whole secret, to figure out that it's connected to nukes and fusion and all this stuff. This just, it makes them look retarded. It makes them look completely inept because they are. They spent 30 years and never figured out anything. 30 years, and the people that came the closest in 30 years are Bob Lazar, who doesn't even believe in 0-point energy, according to my sources, and Nick Cook, the hunt for 0-point energy. In my opinion, those are the two people that came the closest, and neither of them has any idea what's going on. Any idea what's going on. I mean, Nick Cook kind of does, but he doesn't see the bigger picture at all. So it's a huge black eye. That's probably the reason why they're coming after me, probably the reason why they're attacking me. And the other reason is that they project their own insecurities. I notice this a lot about the human condition. It's all about psychology. They project their own insecurities onto me. All the things that they claim that I do, the doxing, the harassment, all this stuff, none of that's real. I don't do any of that shit. I don't coordinate with anybody on anything. They do. They do all that. They're the ones. I actually caught one of these guys literally bot voting his own thing. I took a screenshot of his post where he was getting ratioed, and I came back and looked at it an hour later, and he had 500 new upvotes or new likes or whatever. 500 new likes and an additional 70 retweets on an account with like a few thousand or a few hundred followers. 100% proving that they're bodying. And it's all bodying on posts that are defamatory towards me. And they have their own Discord. They have their own Discord where they coordinate their harassment, where they follow every single one of my posts. And every time a new post comes out, they share it in the Discord in their little group of nut jobs. And that's why you see the same information being posted on Twitter all the time. So there you go. That's the answer to why. And then Zapparoo, thank you very much for this additional last donation. What a fantastic week of streams. And never forget what Jeremy Corbell told you. Told you. Yep, guys. Okay, thanks, everybody. Can we invest in Sigma 1 or Sigma 11? I'm just looking at the Rumble chat, guys. Thank you in the Rumble. Everybody who's been following the Rumble for these last few months as well. No, but I think what we want to find out is when can we invest in Helion Energy, Helion Fusion. Helion Fusion is the company that seems to be the one that's got the backing by the DOE. And whichever company has been picked to win, they're going to become $1 trillion company in fusion, if not I mean, we're talking like maybe by 2035, I could see Helion Fusion becoming a $10 trillion company. They're currently worth about $5 billion. So that's about 1,000 or 20,000% increase. I don't know. Maybe those numbers aren't right, but a big increase. So pay attention to Helion Fusion, Helion Energy, and their IPO. Whenever their IPO comes out, we're going to blast that thing. Okay, guys. Thank you very much, MH370X. Let me post the Discord invite one last time. What are we going to play us out with tonight? I think we're going to do a different song tonight. We always play the same one every time. Well, I think we're going to go with Sibbers chat. I love Sibbers. Okay, guys, have a great night. I will see you guys on Monday. Peace out, everybody. Be well. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Let's make this world a better place, everybody. Have a good night.
Infrared eyes, scanning the black, tracking the heat, never turning back. Control 22, a covert gaze. Control 33, in the cosmic maze. Controls in the mix, secrets untold. Silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interest, far and wide. Spears, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. In the silence of space, they keep their post, shields unseen yet feared the most. With precision and speed, they warn of danger, keeping us safe from the missile's anger. As Beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. Controls in the mix, secrets untold, silent watchers, brave and bold. In the shadows, they silently glide, protecting our interest, far and wide. As Beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to threats afar, guiding our defenses like a guiding star. As Beers, sentinel of the night, watching over with infrared sight, alerting us to